So here we are, man. We are in James's hometown.
You are
And
indeed.
what a wonderful little spot it is. We are here in, would you say in the heart of the Black Country?
Pretty much, yeah. I'd always class Dudley as the Black Country, really, and we're a few miles away. So
Right. Is that like
Yeah.
that's the portal? into the-
something like that.
Right. So we've,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
crossed the threshold and we are well and truly in amongst it all. Yeah, it's great to finally, I can't believe it's taken this long to actually get down here and come into the James Cave.
So I think it's been a couple of years of knowing each other now. probably
Yeah.
10, but
As with most of my friendships these days, I think it started on Instagram.
standard.
And then, yeah, it's just like, and then we first actually met at the Holy Grail show in 2018, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh yes, you are a real person.
Yeah, real life off the screen is very strange, but yeah, it's also strange I find because you feel like you already know everything about the person before you've met them, so there's
Yeah.
no like small talk required. You're just straight in.
Yeah, I know. So we've come down. We were at your coffee and guitars event for Mind Charity yesterday, which was really awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that and what kind of spawned that plan?
Well, to be honest, every year I try to do something for charity. It's usually been for Mind. I mean, this year I did put it out to customers and whatnot of whether they felt that wanted to continue that or another charity, but it seemed that the support for Mind is pretty rife within my customer base and friendship base, so I think it seemed fitting to stay with that, I think. And yeah, so I wanted to do I like to do something different, slightly different each year. We've done t-shirts, like a charity design t-shirt where all the profits went to it. I've done a gig, local gig with a few local bands and a few not so local. My friend Owen drove all the way up from Dorset. Charlie came all the way down from, where was he living at the time? Manchester way, I think. But yeah, loads of guys chipped in to help that, and it was a really good night. But I kind of fancied doing something a bit more relaxed for people to actually chat and mingle and meet up with like-minded people, because ultimately a lot of people listen to music and play guitar for mental health helping reasons.
Totally.
we all take so much from guitar and music for that reason. So I kind of wanted to get together, a bit similar to the kind of coffee morning type vibes that you see,
Of
but
course,
try and involve our guitars the best way I could. So it was quite a relaxed approach, I thought, mainly because I didn't know how it would go and what might work. I thought, you know what, I'm going to take quite a relaxed approach, see how it works, what does, what doesn't, and kind of maybe go into seeing what we can do for next year.
No, it's great.
Refine it a bit, but it was good.
You nailed it on the coffee front. You're
Yeah,
frantically grinding. And,
I misjudged
tamping.
just how much I'd have to make, but you know.
No, it was excellent. The coffee was really great. And we also had a lovely selection of cakes. It was nice
Did
cakes
indeed.
then.
Yeah.
And the venue, like the Bond House?
Bonded Warehouse.
Bonded
yeah,
Warehouse, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of the. It's been around for a long time. It's just a hire venue, but it's quite a kind of historic building in the area. And obviously you got the canals right by it and various, but Stourbridge in particular is known for its glassworks.
Right.
It's a nice building. I approached them and they looked after me, being a charity event and stuff. So I thought we'd give it a try, but I think it seemed to work quite well. There.
Yeah, it was good. It was really
Accessible for people and
relaxed
stuff.
and,
Yeah, that's what I wanted really. Nice relaxed vibe. And then obviously good people like yourself that travelled down and brought guitars made it nice, because that was the entertainment ultimately. It's giving people a chance to come and look at these things that they otherwise wouldn't have seen on a rainy November morning. So
No, it was really nice.
Yeah.
So just to backtrack a little bit, not everybody's going to know what James's hometown is.
No, understandably.
Because they may have been living in a cave, or so give us a little backstory. What is the home of town?
Well, it's been a long journey of something. I've always wanted to do something with guitars, and I must admit I did always have a fascination with guitar stores as a kid. I did my work experience in one, but then just general life happened. I drifted away, went into the motor trade for a long time, and then I worked for a really good friend's company, a motorsport company, Driftworks, who were pivotal in my kind of personal and personal kind of mindset.
Yeah.
But they came from a point where they were two guys that just were really passionate about an interest and just dove straight in from the ground up, and that was a big inspiration for me. But I made sure I was quite respectful to them, like whilst planning this journey. But yeah, it was kind of, I haven't really ever paid attention to what other shops do or anything like that. It's kind of just been my take on it. What I find inspiring, any brand I've ever worked with, is because I've been inspired by something that they represent, either whether it's just their ethics or whether it's their products or whether it's their design points. It's just something about them I'm drawn to, and that's what I want to represent. I mean, there are some bigger brand items in, but my passions lie with the unique. So it's kind of been a journey of bringing those in, working with these brands, growing it from there, really. But it is predominantly online sales. I do have this little space to invite people, which has been really nice, actually. I was quite anxious about having something based here, but the customer response has been so nice when people have come in, and I've been like lighting up at the kind of the display, which to me seems really humble, like really humble little space, but the customers really seem to enjoy it. And
that's what I thought when I first came in. I was just like, oh, this is great, and this is just like, this is it. This is the home of tone. And we should also say that you do a lot of like pre-wired harnesses and that kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah. So
I'm looking over here, and there's like pots galore and solder and copper foil and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a spin-off from offering McNelly Pickups, who Tim is a massive part of the growth of my business. I approached him when I pretty much a month or so in, absolutely tiny, and I approached him about stocking, and he straight away, I said to him, very small, this is my situation. He goes, well, we all started there, so let's work together.
That's awesome.
And we've been a genuine friendship, it feels, and it's been nice to have a mutual person to deal with in that sense. But yeah, it kind of, the harnesses span off the back of that, of people wanting upgrading pickups at the same time, going, oh, what could you do wiring wise? And it's went from a couple of custom orders to people to now it's these soldering irons on every day and making those, which is fun. And it's been, again, that's as much of a steep learning curve. I've worked on guitars and done it on my own for a long time, but it's been nice to refine those over the years and get to a point where I know what I'm sending out is a solid item that's got the best components I can find, but it's been made in such a way that's either helps with the install or also a lot of the rigidity I would just worry about posting them out. You can package them the best way you can, but these are fairly fragile components, so I kind of solder stuff and fix stuff in such a way that I hope gets to them safely, and you handle it. And some guitars, like a hollow body, where you've got to feed it through an F-hole, like they're awkward to handle, try and make it so all the joints nice and solid and trustworthy, that they haven't done all that work and it doesn't work. But but no, it's fun. I do enjoy doing those, and it's a bit of OCD friendly as well. You can make things look neat. It's nice, and
it's one of the things that I see a lot on Instagram now is people really taking care of their wiring. And all the harnesses just looking like absolutely perfect, and even kinking the wires so that they kind of, there's no kind of slack or anything like that, just absolutely perfectly. And that kind of leads me on to talking about one of the brands that you represent. Can I pick?
You absolutely can.
I make no secret of the fact that Florian of Millimetrics probably makes, I'm going to say it makes the best guitars. These electric guitars in the world today. Montreal, Canada. We were there a couple of months ago, and we're lucky enough to spend some time in Florian's workshop. But one of the things that I really admire about Florian's work is that the exposed control cavities with the beautifully executed wiring, and I think people are seeing this
definitely,
and they're like, okay, I've got to make, and it's kind of like beauty all over.
And I think the thing for me as well, it's as much of seeing the neatness in his approach. He's got some unique approach, like his grounding's very unique. So it's kind of, but it's as much of, I love the design aspect to tie it all in, where it's you've got such a clean design, but then it's so nice to see a detailed mechanical item and seeing that up close.
So you've been representing Millimetrics for about a year now? Is that right? Talk us through the journey of with Florian.
Well, a friend of mine introduced me to them, Gavin. He told me to check these out. I thought I'd appreciate. I mean, we were both Jazzmaster obsessive, so he said, "Oh, you like offsets? Have a look at this." And I'd never seen anything like it, even though there are some. I guess you could say there's some similarities to kind of Dan Electro simplicity in the kind of angular cutaway and things. There are some there, but ultimately it's a totally unique thing. It's unique to him. And of course, I've become utterly obsessed with that.
Yep.
And the design. And I reached out to him and said, I'd love to just do, when I can, do a Meet the Maker kind of written interview blog, which you did too.
Yep.
I reached out to him to do one of those, and it was a great interview. And we kept in touch. But obviously, I know each and every single maker's got their own direction with that, either through whether it's what they can afford to allow a dealer to do, whether they want that kind of control. It must be difficult to hand control as a guitar maker, I imagine, over to somebody. You've got to know they can respect that.
Absolutely.
So it was kind of nice, really. That was set aside, and it wasn't something really discussed or spoken about. So it was nice, just natural friendship and appreciation of his work kind of grew from there. And then I saw he was at Holy Grail. I thought, well, that's a bit closer to Canada. I can afford to go there.
Yeah.
So I flew over and met him, and we just seemed to, as far as I could tell, I'm pretty sure Florian would say the same, but we seemed to be on the same kind of outlook on what we kind of wanted to achieve from representing the brand. So, we've took a little bit of a unique approach as a dealer, I would probably say. I kind of class myself more as a representative than a dealer. In terms of just trying to help him,
like a champion for
the
brand.
Yeah, and obviously he built a beautiful demo guitar, which isn't here at the moment. It's a Guitar Magazine, but he built an absolutely stunning guitar. He created quite a unique look for that as well, with the double oxidized walnut and the gold lipstick, the kind of brass sleeve lipstick pickup on there. Yeah, it's such a bold statement of a guitar.
It really is, and we were talking about this earlier. You know, the polarized opinion. It really kind of threw the cat amongst the pigeons.
And I love that. Absolutely adore that. I think that at the end of the day, the way I've seen anything that I do, I think if I'd have come along, had a premises that would have allowed me to stock the big brands, I wouldn't have been noticed. I'd have just gone under the radar. I'd been any old shop. But being able to work with these unique brands that have got such a good eye for design, such a quality aspect of it, has allowed me to be on people's radar a lot quicker than I ever would have been, and I'm really grateful for that. But it's also something I've got to keep in mind to be really remind myself of how proud I am to represent these people, because that's allowed me to express myself through their work as much as anything, as much as my own kind of direction.
I think the ergonomics on this is quite interesting. You know, just the fact that the body kind of tapers away to, you know, like half an inch.
I think I did a photo recently where it was that kind of angle looking on, and I had a few comments and messages about just, I didn't believe how thin it was. I'm like, well, in fact, it's not. It's just the edges tapered, the middles.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a little bit slimmer, but it's fairly regular.
It does give it a really interesting feel.
And a wonderful comfort feel as well.
Totally,
I find. I think more so than any guitar brand I've probably had prior, I've just felt that these were a guitar that needed to be played by people and experienced in person. I don't think the photos would turn any relation to how it would feel in your hands. I think people look at it, and when they see a guitar, they want to see, oh, that's a bit like a Les Paul. Okay, that's going to play like a Les Paul. They see a, whatever it may be, telly, that kind of bass instrument, whether it's a different body shape but still got telly bridge and telly pickups, people know what to expect from it. Whereas this is totally what people aren't used to seeing, that it needed to be in people's hands, which is great that Florian totally understood that and knew that, which is why he wanted to build the demo instrument for people to do exactly that. So it's been fun. The first show I had it to was the one in Bristol, and the reaction was amazing.
I bet.
It just stole so much attention, but just in multiple ways, though, multiple age groups, everything, that were just so intrigued and coming to ask questions, and I couldn't be happy with that. It's lovely to get in talks with people and go away, and they'll probably remember this more than most.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky. I mean, I work with Chad Jennings at Jennings Guitars, and he's a beautiful work.
Well, let's have a. Can we get the Jennings?
We can grab that.
So on the kind of slight opposite end of the spectrum, or rather, I should say, a slightly more traditional end of the spectrum, we've got the Jennings, which is I'd never seen one of these before.
No.
Apart from the stuff I've seen you post.
Mhm.
So what's the story? What's the story here?
Well, it was funny enough actually. Chad was the very first guitar company I contacted when I was looking for guitar brands to work with. At the time, he wasn't ready for dealerships.
Yeah.
But we kind of stayed relatively in touch. Obviously, followed his work, and he's got a pretty strong following online. Pretty strong. But this actually came about off the back of Tim McNally again, who has been. I mean, I mentioned his kind of influence on and help and friendship he's kind of supported through the years of doing this, but he reached out and mentioned to both Chad and myself that we should work together. Obviously he does use Tim's pickup, so that's where the connection lies, but we started speaking, and what was nice with Chad as well, it was kind of we spoke a little bit on email, but he was like, let's speak on the phone. So it was lovely to just have that hour or so of speaking on the phone, and it felt like that bond was growing quicker as a result of that. And he built two instruments, which is one of his Voyager, which he does as a solid body or this semi-hollow, and the Catalina. At the time, he has introduced more since, but these two core models, and built these guitars for me. I've got the Voyager left at the moment. The Catalina sold recently, but yeah, a lot more of a traditional take on it. I think you can see so many aspects of vintage. Deep respect for vintage instruments. Obviously, you've got aspects of Jazzmaster with this, with the offset.
Yeah.
I can see Gretchen there. I can see Gibson. I can see Fender. It's a lovely mix, without feeling like it's copying for the sake of it, which is what drew me to his own designs. They're uniquely his.
And what we were just saying off camera a minute ago was the body on this is an older body that's been stained. I always thought, looking at it, it was walnut, but it's not. It's,
From what I can tell from his workmanship, I think he's very methodical, very respectful of himself, and vice versa. And it's nice to get as well, like the fact that they have McNally's and these. It's kind of crossing over of bands as well, which is always really nice to do. Yeah.
You do a small range of pedals as well, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I work with the awesome Seb at Ground Control Audio, who was a mutual friend of Florian's at Ergonomics, so that one was a nice connection. Florian actually pointed me in his direction, and we got chatting. I actually ordered a pedal for myself from him, and we just again got chatting. I thought, you know what, let's work together. And his work's awesome, and obviously the design that Sam does on all the enclosures and stuff, which is so cool. But the pedal market, I mean, for a boutique pedal, you're looking anywhere from £150 to maybe £500. It's the kind of money people can save up for and justify, if that's your thing. So it's kind of like the affordable aspect of the boutique market, and it's a very busy market. And I mean, I've got a sense of that from just trying to bring in brands that people perhaps haven't heard of prior or seen within the UK, and I've got a taster of just how hard it is for them, and I've got a deep respect for pedal makers for what they're doing.
I was chatting to Andy at Red Panda at the Sonor Festival, and like the tech that goes into those things, it's just like blows my mind. You know, when I think about pedals, you know, I think about like your Ibanez tube screamer, right, which is just like a couple of pots and like that's kind of it. Yeah. But like these latest pedals, it's a science.
And I have to be honest as well. I mean, the pedal aspect of the guitar world really was something that, I mean, I certainly never profess to be an expert in any aspect of it. I do my best and very keen at learning every aspect, but the pedal aspect of it was I feel I'd not really ever done as a musician, as a guitar player. I never delved too much into pedals. I mean, when me and my friend used to gig, like my pedal board, we'd turn up to these gigs where it was mostly like post-rock bands playing and stuff who had these spaceship boards, and I'd turn up and I had a tuner, a loop pedal, and a booster. Yeah. So it's like I was the weirdo with these like three pedals, and the loop pedal I didn't even use for loops. I used it for samples. So it's like it's always something that like I was interested in, but I was almost daunted by it because I never really delved much into it. So I've dived more into it just as an interest. It's a field that I think is pretty astonishing what they can do with a circuit board and an audio signal through this thing. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, Seb's great, and I think he's got some really cool ideas on the upcoming year, so it'll be interesting to see. But he's a nice guy to work with. And also Ryan at Yellowcake, who's I think can be described as a mad professor of mad effects. Like he creates some amazing circuits really, which are all really fun. Of course, there's some drives and fuzzes and stuff, but I've been really enjoying his kind of LFO based like weird oscillation stuff, and yeah.
So, where can people find out more about Home of Turn? Where are we next going to see you out on the road?
So the Merseyside one's next, and then I've got the main Birmingham one, which is a Jason show, which I really enjoy.
When's that?
That one's a tail end of February.
Right.
I think it falls over just the last weekend in February, which falls into March on the Sunday, I think. But that's a good show because it feels like I've always used that show as like my year start. That's like my NAM.
Right, got
in
it.
a way, like I feel that my whole year works to that one where I can kind of go, this is what I've done with my year, kind of thing. I try to do something a bit different, either whether it's with the display or trying to introduce a new brand at that show. So it kind of feels like a kind of my marking point to the year, that one.
Well, listen, man, thank you so much for taking the time
you.
to chat. It's so good to be here in your little space and to check out some of your interesting instruments and get a sense of your passion. So
thanks so much, man.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.